it's Foreign News O'Clock on All News Nigeria. I am Opeyemi Olugbemi. Here are the headlines for today. Boris Johnson claims Putin threatened to kill him. Germany defiant on lockstep approach with Ukraine. Now the news in detail. Boris Johnson has claimed Vladimir Putin threatened to kill him with a missile in a call ahead of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The former prime minister has alleged the Russian leader told him, "I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile, it would only take a minute."
He threatened me at one point and said, Boris, I don't want to hurt you, but with a missile, it would only take a minute or something like that,
In an extraordinary conversation which took place in February after he had visited Kyiv. Johnson, who will become a key backer of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's administration in the months after Russia invaded, made the claim as part of a new BBC Two series looking at how the West grappled with Mr. Putin in the years before the war. The former prime minister recalled that on the visit to Kyiv, he warned Mr. Putin that an invasion of Ukraine would be disastrous and there would be tougher Western sanctions on Russia if he did so. Mr. Johnson also said he told the Russian leader that the escalation would only see Western states increase support for Ukraine, meaning more NATO, not less NATO, on Russia's borders. Earlier this month, Mr. Johnson made a surprise visit to Ukraine and renewed scrutiny over his personal finances. The former prime minister said it was a privilege to be invited to the war-torn nation by President Volodymyr Zelensky, with whom he had a close working relationship during his time in office. Downing Street indicated Rishi Sunak was supportive of the visit, after claims it could undermine his authority on foreign policy. Mr. Boris Johnson was pictured visiting Borodianka near Kyiv, a town heavily damaged by the Russian invasion. Meanwhile, Germany's government is defiant, maintaining that its lockstep approach to weapons deliveries is the best way to support Ukraine and the only way it can do so while keeping its domestic public on side. Allies of Chancellor Olaf Scholz accuse his critics of being dedicated to making him a scapegoat. German leader Olaf Scholz faced mounting criticisms last week from international and domestic partners over the protracted decision to supply Ukraine with Leopard 2 battle tanks, which are made in Germany and required authorization by Berlin for re-exports from other countries. A deadlock on the tanks question was broken only last Wednesday, when Washington announced it would also send 31 of its own Abrams tanks to Ukraine, meeting a condition Berlin had reportedly insisted on for releasing the Leopard 2. This lockstep logic seemingly followed to avoid Germany being singled out as an aggressor in the eyes of the Kremlin, has been criticized since it appears to question the security guarantee provided by Article 5 of NATO's founding charter. Scholz's speech in February last year had raised expectations in other European capitals that Berlin would, in future, take a bolder initiative on military questions. But the view in German government circles is that close coordination remains necessary to shore up fluctuating domestic support for Europe's largest economy, arming Ukraine. Opinion polls have shown the German public evenly divided over whether its government should send battle tanks to support Ukraine or not, with signs of a shift to a marginally supportive position only over the past 2 weeks. Criticisms of Scholz's procrastination has come from within his Green and Liberal Party junior coalition partners, but also from allies in the EU such as Poland, whose hiring of Berlin some German commentators have dismissed as being motivated by elections coming up this autumn. Last week, Germany dispatched the first 2 of its 3 Patriot air defense units that are to be set up near Poland's border with Ukraine to prevent stray missile attacks, an offer that was initially rejected but then accepted after a public outcry. And that's it on the news. To keep up with All News Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. We'll be back with more news updates tomorrow. Until then, stay tuned. I am Opeyemi Olugbemi.